Let me tell you something straight, because I don't sugarcoat when it comes to love and relationships. A lot of men walk around acting tough, like nothing can shake them, like they untouchable. But let me let you in on a secret. Every man has a weakness. And when a woman becomes that weakness, he doesn't always say it, but he shows it. You don't need him to spell it out, because his actions will tell you everything you need to know. Today, I'm about to break it down for you so you can recognize those signs and understand just how much power you really have when... Let me break something down to you real clear. Because when it comes to men, sometimes their words don't line up with their actions. Men aren't always good at saying what's on their hearts. Pride gets in the way, ego gets in the way, upbringing gets in the way. But if you really want to know whether you're his weakness, you have to pay attention to how much your happiness matters to him. Because here's the truth. When a man truly sees you as his weakness, he cannot stomach the idea of you being upset, broken, or hurting. Your happiness becomes like oxygen to him, and when you're without it, he feels like he can't breathe. Now, let's get real for a second. Most men live their whole lives protecting their pride. We are raised to stand tall, be strong, never bend, never show softness, never let anything or anyone control us. Pride is stitched into our very nature. But you want to know when that pride starts to bend? When he sees you unhappy. When the woman who's got his heart is hurting, suddenly all those walls come tumbling down. He may not know how to solve everything in his own life, but when it comes to you, he's going to figure out a way to fix what's wrong. If he did something wrong, he's going to swallow his ego and apologize. If someone else hurt you, he's going to step in and protect you. And if life itself has worn you down, he's going to do whatever it takes to lift you up. That's not just affection. That's a man revealing that you're the one thing in this world that has power over him. When a man can walk away from a woman's pain, when he can ignore her tears, when he can act like it doesn't bother him, let me tell you something. That woman is not his weakness. That doesn't mean he doesn't like her. Doesn't mean he doesn't care a little. But it does mean he hasn't given her access to his heart. Because a man's heart reacts differently when it's tied to someone he can't afford to lose. Think about this. The toughest, hardest men in the world can walk through fire. They can take criticism. They can handle stress. But put the woman they love in front of them with tears in her eyes, and suddenly they don't know what to do with themselves. It shakes them. It stirs something inside they can't control. That's when you know you become his weakness. Not because you make him fragile, but because you've touched him deeper than anything else could. And ladies, I'm going to tell you something important. Don't confuse a man being quiet about his feelings with him not caring. Some men aren't going to come running with flowers every time you're upset. Some men aren't going to shower you with dramatic speeches. But you will see it in the way he reacts to your moods. You'll notice how his energy shifts when you're unhappy. He might pace the floor. He might try to make you laugh. He might even get frustrated because he feels helpless. But the fact that your sadness disrupts his peace tells you all you need to know. If your smile makes his day better, if your frown makes his day worse, then baby, you're not just another woman in his life. You're the one. See, love has a funny way of humbling men. It makes them do things they swore they'd never do. It makes them bend in ways they thought they'd never bend. A man who said he'd never apologize will certainly be the first to say, "I'm sorry," just to see you smile again. A man who said he doesn't chase after anyone will find himself running back to you just to make peace. A man who said he doesn't care about gifts or gestures will suddenly remember the little things you like and surprise you when you least expect it. Why? Because your happiness is no longer optional in his life. It's necessary. And if he doesn't protect it, he feels like he's failing you. Now let's talk about sacrifice. When you're his weakness, a man will sacrifice things he never thought he would. He'll rearrange the schedule. He'll compromise his stubborn habits. He'll even humble himself in front of his friends or family just to make sure you feel valued. Understand this. Men don't like to change. They like their routines, their habits, their ways. But if your joy matters more to him than his comfort zone, you've become something powerful in his life. That's when you know this isn't casual. This isn't just pass the time. This is real because he's allowing you to influence him in ways no one else can. Ladies, sometimes you might feel like you're asking for too much when you want a man to care about your happiness. But let me reassure you, if he loves you deeply, you'll never be asking too much. You'll actually be asking just enough because he already feels the weight of your joy and pain in his own chest. When you laugh, he feels lighter. When you cry, he feels heavier. That connection is not common, it's rare. And when you find it, don't dismiss it, don't take it lightly, because that is a man telling you without words that you are his weakness. And here's the part I want you to hear most. Don't think weakness means weakness. A man admitting or showing that your happiness matters more than his pride is not weakness, it's strength. It takes strength to put ego aside. It takes strength to show up for someone else consistently. It takes strength to say you matter to me more than being right, more than my schedule, more than my stubbornness. That kind of love is rare, is real, and is worth recognizing. So the first and biggest sign that you are his weakness is this: when your happiness is his priority. He won't always say it. He may not always explain it, but he'll show it in the way he checks on you, the way he compromises, the way he fights for your smile like it's the most important victory in his day. And when you see that, know this: he's not just a man in love. He's a man who has found the one woman who can make or break his world without even trying. Let me tell you something real plain. Men do not like being vulnerable. We're raised from the time we're little boys to be tough, to keep it together, to never let the world see us sweat. We're told to hold in our tears, swallow our fears, and walk around with our chest out like we've got it all figured out. That's how society builds men. And most of us carry that armor well into adulthood. But when a man finds a woman who becomes his weakness, all that changes. He may never say, "You've broken down my walls." He may never announce, "I trust you with my heart." But you'll see it in the way he lets his guard down around you. You'll see it in the way he starts sharing parts of himself that he hides from everybody else. That's when you know you've tapped into something powerful. Because if a man gives you his vulnerability, he's giving you the most guarded, sacred thing he has. Think about it. A man will sit in a room full of his friends and never admit he's scared about his future. He'll stand in front of his family and never reveal that he feels like he's failing. He'll go to work every day acting like he's got everything under control, when deep down, he's wrestling with doubts and fears just like everybody else. But when he comes home to you and suddenly he's talking about how he's worried he's not good enough, or how he's carrying a pressure that feels too heavy, or how he has dreams he's scared to chase, oh, baby, that's not casual. That's not small. That's a man showing you the part of himself he protects from the rest of the world. That's him telling you, without saying it directly, you're my safe place. Ladies, let me break it down a little deeper. Men don't let themselves cry easily. But if you've ever seen them with watery eyes in front of you, that wasn't weakness, that was trust. If he's ever put his head in his hands and admitted, "I don't know what to do," understand what you're witnessing. You're witnessing a man who feels safe enough to be human with you, because men are not robots. We get tired, we get hurt, we get scared. We just don't like to show it. But when you're his weakness, he'd rather risk looking soft in front of you than risk losing the connection that honesty creates. That's love on a level most people don't even talk about. And here's something powerful. When a man shows vulnerability to the woman he loves, it's not because he's weak, it's because he feels stronger with her. He knows that when he shares his fears, you won't use them against him. He knows that when he admits his failures, you won't throw them back in his face. He knows that when he speaks his dreams out loud, you'll support him instead of laughing at him. That's rare. That's precious. Because most men are terrified of being judged. And yet here he is handing you his truth. That means you become the one person he believes won't betray him. Ladies, some of you underestimate what it means when a man shares his secrets with you. You think it's just pillow talk, late night conversations, words spilling out because he's tired. No, it's deeper than that. He's been holding that weight for years. He's been fighting battles you don't even see. And the fact that he chooses you to open up to says you're not just in his life, you're inside his heart. You've got access to a part of him nobody else is allowed to touch. And I promise you this, men don't hand out that level of access lightly. They're sacred ground. Now let's talk about dreams for a minute. A man can go his whole life keeping his wildest dreams tucked away because he's scared of being laughed at, scared of being told he can't do it. But when you're his weakness, he'll tell you about the business he wants to start, the places he wants to travel, the fears that are holding him back. And why does he tell you? Because he believes you won't crush him. He believes you'll encourage him, push him, remind him of who he is. That kind of belief is addictive to a man. Once he feels it, once he experiences it, he'll keep coming back to it because he knows with you, he can finally stop pretending. And let me say this, don't ever underestimate the courage it takes for a man to be vulnerable. It's easier for us to stay quiet, to stay strong, to stay distant. It's safer to keep the mask on. But if he's pulling the mask off for you, if he's showing you the raw, unpolished version of himself, that means you've unlocked his deepest fear and his deepest hope at the same time. Fear that you could hurt him more than anyone else, and hope that you never will. That's the definition of being someone's weakness. So ladies, pay attention. If he's telling you about his failures, don't see it as complaining, see it as trust. If he's admitting his fears, don't see it as weakness, see it as love. If he's dreaming out loud with you, don't take it lightly, see it as him choosing you to walk with him into his future. Because a man's vulnerability is not cheap. It's rare, it's valuable, and when you see it, you better recognize just how much power you have in his life. That's the second big sign. He might not be able to say the words, "You're my weakness," but when he drops his guard, when he opens his heart, when he shows you sides of himself that nobody else gets to see, he's saying it without saying it. You are his soft spot, his safe place, his one escape from the pressure of the world. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is proof that you've become his weakness in the most powerful way. Men are natural protectors. That's in our DNA. From the beginning of time, men have been wired to shield, to guard, to defend what matters to them. But let me be clear. It's not about him trying to play Superman for the whole world. No, most men aren't running around trying to protect everybody. But when a man has found his weakness in a woman, when she has touched his heart in a way no one else can, suddenly her well-being becomes his mission. He doesn't need you to ask. He doesn't need you to beg. He just moves. He steps up in ways you can't always explain because deep down he feels it. Keeping you safe, keeping you cared for, keeping you from harm is part of who he is when he's with you. See, a lot of women think protection only looks like fighting somebody off in the streets, like some dramatic movie scene where the man is throwing punches for your honor. But ladies, it's deeper than that. Protection comes in many forms. It's him making sure you made it home safely after a long day. It's him holding your hand when you're walking across a busy street. It's him saying, text me when you get there. Not because he's controlling, but because he can't rest until he knows you're okay. It's him pulling you closer when the room gets loud, making sure you feel secure in his presence. That's not a performance. That's instinct. That's a man silently saying, you're my weakness and I can't risk losing you. Now here's what makes this kind of protection special. He doesn't just protect your body, he protects your spirit. You'll notice it in the way he defends your name when you're not around. He won't let people talk down on you. He won't let anyone diminish your worth. He'll stand in the gap because in his mind, if you're attacked, whether by words or actions, it hits him too. A man doesn't protect what doesn't matter. So if he's guarding your reputation, your feelings, and your peace, understand what that means. You become precious to him. And let's talk about emotional protection because that's something people don't always see. When a man cares deeply, he'll watch how he speaks to you. He'll learn your triggers. He'll avoid hurting you with words. He'll try his best to create a space where you feel safe opening up. That's huge because men aren't always taught to handle emotions. But when you're his weakness, he learns, he studies you. He pays attention to what lifts you up and what tears you down. And if something hurts you, it hurts him. That's why he'll step in to comfort you before you even have to ask. Ladies, you've got to understand, this is not about control, this is about love. When a man protects you without being asked, he's showing you that your presence in his life is not something he takes lightly. He may not always say, I love you so much, or you mean the world to me, but when he's checking on you, guiding you, shielding you, that's love in motion. Actions will always speak louder than words. Now here's something else. When a man loves a woman deeply, he even protects her from himself. That might sound strange, but think about it. He knows his temper. He knows his flaws. He knows his demons. And when he's really invested, he'll do everything in his power not to let his own weaknesses hurt you. He'll walk away from an argument before he says something cruel. He'll take time to cool down so he doesn't explode on you. He'll fight his own battles silently sometimes just to keep you at peace. That right there is one of the strongest signs of all, that he sees you as his weakness. Because protecting you doesn't just mean shielding you from the world. It means shielding you from any part of himself that could wound you. And ladies, let's not forget sacrifice. Protection and sacrifice go hand in hand. A man who has found his weakness in a woman will give up comfort, sleep, money, and even his own pride if it means making sure she's okay. He'll drive miles in the middle of the night if you need him. He'll work extra hard if it means you'll be secure. He'll step back from certain friendships, certain habits, even certain environments if he feels like they could harm the relationship. And he won't brag about it because it's not about recognition. It's about making sure you're safe, loved, and cared for. Here's the truth. When a man protects a woman instinctively, it's not a burden for him. It's an honor. He doesn't see it as, oh, I have to do this. He sees it as, I get to do this because she's mine and she matters. That's why you'll notice he doesn't hesitate. He doesn't wait for you to point out what needs to be done. He anticipates it. He's already on guard, already thinking about how to shield you from what could go wrong. That anticipation, that's when you know you're not just important, you're everything. So ladies, pay attention to the little things. When he reaches out his arm without thinking as you step off a curb, when he insists on walking on the side of the road closer to the cars, When he notices your stress and does something small to ease your load. When he stands beside you in public, making sure you feel secure. Don't overlook those actions. They might feel small, but they carry a big message. Those are the signs that you're his weakness. A man doesn't protect what he doesn't value. A man doesn't guard what he doesn't fear losing. So when you see him protecting you in ways big and small, remember, he's telling you without words that you are the most valuable thing in his life. One of the clear signs that you are a man's weakness is that no matter what happens, he always finds his way back to you. Life is full of ups and downs. Arguments come, misunderstandings pop up. Sometimes pride gets in the way. But if a man truly sees you as his weakness, walking away permanently is not an option. He may step back to cool off. He may take time to process his emotions. But deep down, he knows he can't stay gone. Something inside of him keeps pulling him back to you, like gravity. That's love, that's connection, and that's proof that you hold a place in his heart that no one else can replace. See, let's get honest here. Most men, when they're not truly invested, don't stick around when things get rough. If it gets too complicated, they move on. If it stops being convenient, they look elsewhere. But when you are his weakness, it doesn't matter how tough things get, he's going to fight his way back into your life. He might get frustrated. He might even say things in the heat of the moment. But at the end of the day, his actions speak louder than his words. His actions say, I can't imagine my life without you. Now, let me paint you a picture. Two people are arguing. Voices get raised. Emotions run high, and both walk away angry. Hours go by, maybe even days. But if you are his weakness, he can't settle. He can't sleep peacefully. He can't focus fully because there's a tug on his spirit that says, go back, make it right. That's why you'll see him call, text, or show up, even if it means swallowing his pride, because as much as his ego might want him to hold out, his heart won't let him. And when a man chooses his heart over his ego, that's when you know you're not just any woman. You're the woman. It's not just about arguments either. It's about life itself. Life will throw distractions, opportunities, and temptations at him. But when you're his weakness, none of that holds him for long. He might drift, he might stumble, but he won't stay away. He'll keep circling back because deep down he knows you're his anchor. He knows no matter where he goes, no matter what he achieves, it doesn't feel right without you by his side. That's a powerful sign because it means he's tethered to you in a way he can't shake off. Ladies, pay attention to consistency. A man's words can be sweet, but his patterns tell the truth. If every time things fall apart, he still finds his way back, that's not coincidence. That's connection. That's him showing you with his behavior that you've become something he can't let go of. And you know what? That's not weakness in the sense of failure. That's love in its purest form. Love doesn't give up. Love doesn't walk away and never return. Love finds its way back no matter how many storms come. And here's the thing. Coming back doesn't just mean physically showing up. It means emotionally showing up. It means he still invests his energy, his time, his attention. He still wants to fix what's broken instead of throwing it away. Anybody can walk into your life when it's easy, but it takes a real man, a man who sees you as his weakness, to come back after things get messy and say, I still want this. I still want us. That right there is powerful. Now let's talk about choice, because every man has options. He can choose to stay gone. He can choose to numb himself. He can choose to move on. But when you're his weakness, he doesn't want those other choices. He chooses you again and again, even when it's difficult, even when he's stubborn, even when the world tells him to give up, he doesn't. That's not just attachment, that's commitment. That's a bond that goes deeper than surface level attraction. That's soul level stuff. Ladies, Don't ever underestimate what it means when a man keeps coming back, because that's not about convenience. It's about connection. If it was just convenience, he'd find someone easier. If it's just about fun, he'd chase excitement somewhere else. But when he keeps returning to you, it's because there's something about you he can't replace. You become home to him. And no matter where he goes, home is where he'll always want to be. And let me tell you this, a man who always comes back is not showing weakness. He's showing strength. It takes strength to admit you need someone. It takes strength to fight through pride and come back after a disagreement. It takes strength to choose love in a world that tells men to detach and move on. So when he keeps showing up, recognize that as proof that you've touched him in ways words could never explain. So if you're wondering whether his weakness, look at the patterns. Look at how many times he's chosen you, even when it wasn't easy. Look at how many times he swallowed his pride, reached out, or walked back through that door. That's not accident. That's not habit. That's love. That's his heart telling him, she's worth it, she's mine, and I can't let her go.